What I'm about to explain to you is something most men will go through their entire lives never understanding. They'll struggle, they'll get frustrated, they'll blame women, they'll blame themselves, and they'll never realize that the entire process by which a woman develops attachment, desire, and eventually love is governed by a psychology completely different from their own. But once you grasp this, once you actually understand the mechanism, how attraction forms, how desire rises, how emotional chemistry develops, you'll operate in a completely different league than 90% of men. This might be the most important lesson I've ever laid out publicly, because it defines not only why women fall in love, but also how, when, and under what conditions they feel that slowly intensifying pull toward a man. By the end of this, you won't just understand women better, you'll understand how to conduct yourself with clarity and confidence instead of confusion and desperation. Let's start with the foundational truth. A woman does not fall in love instantly. She builds love over time. A man's attraction is immediate, fast, instantaneous. You see a woman who looks your type, she laughs at your joke, she touches your arm lightly, and suddenly your brain is already imagining the entire future. Men escalate mentally at the speed of lightning, women don't. Women develop feelings through a gradual rise in emotional intensity, built through repeated interactions, accumulated experiences, and growing investment. So if we were to map this out visually, her desire starts at zero the moment she meets you, and increases only through the slow accumulation of investment, emotional, psychological, physical, and temporal. And the moment you understand how this investment ladder works, you gain the ability to guide the interaction naturally, confidently, and authentically. Now let me give you a metaphor so simple you'll never forget it. Men are instant ramen, women are slow-cooked brisket. A man heats up instantly. A woman needs consistent heat over time. There is no magic trick, no single line, no perfect gesture that makes a woman fall in love on the spot. Her process is built on time, repetition, experience, and emotional layering. But here's the part most men get completely wrong. You cannot rush the brisket. Most men try to speed up a woman's emotional process because their process is fast. They feel instantly, so they behave instantly. They text too much, pursue too intensely, reveal too early, demand clarity before she even feels attraction. And when a man rushes the emotional process, he destroys the very thing he's trying to build. Your job when dealing with women is simple. Stay composed, stay patient, stay detached from the outcome. If she comes toward you, good. If she doesn't come toward you today, also good. If you see her this week, good. If you don't see her until next week, equally fine. This is the mindset of a grounded man. The brisket takes time. Your impatience doesn't make it cook faster. And the moment she senses you rush in her process, she loses attraction instantly. Now let's move into the backbone of this entire concept, the principle that determines whether a woman falls in love. Investment. Investment is the secret ingredient behind female attraction. It is the psychological glue that binds a woman to a man. Humans, men and women alike, value what they invest time, energy, or effort into, not what's simply given to them. This is why the nice guy who gives everything up front ends up ignored, while the man she had to invest in, even slightly, is the one she can't stop thinking about. When a woman invests in a man, her desire grows. When she invests consistently, her emotional attachment forms, and if investment builds long enough without interruption, she falls in love. Yet most men sabotage themselves by doing the opposite. They invest into her, but never let her invest into them. They chase, they pursue, they give, they accommodate, they bend over backward, and then they wonder why she drifts away, or relegates them to the friend zone while chasing the guy who barely texts her back. It's simple, she values the man she invests in, not the man who invests endlessly into her with nothing required in return. Investment isn't manipulation, it's human psychology. If you bought a book, you're more likely to read it than if someone handed it to you for free. If you spent hours building a furniture piece, you'll care more about it than a chair you purchased pre-assembled. A woman's emotional bond works the same way. So what you're going to learn now is the 3 forms of investment that cause a woman's desire to rise. And once you understand these levels, you won't be confused by female behavior ever again. Let's break down the types. I, behavioral investment, compliance. Compliance simply means she's willing to do something you ask. It's not about control, it's about responsiveness. Every yes is a small psychological step deeper into emotional involvement. Women don't just fall for men they desire, they fall for men they respond to. There are 3 levels of compliance, and understanding them is crucial. Level 1, compliance requests, soft, polite asks. These are light, low-pressure requests. Simple, effortless things she can easily agree to, without feeling like she's given you too much. Examples: can you pass me that? Want to meet at 4? Let's sit over there. Requests are perfect for beginners, dominant, or independent women, situations where she's not yet comfortable with stronger direction. Every time she says yes, she becomes slightly more accustomed to following your lead, and once that pattern forms, you naturally move to the next tier. Level 2, compliance demands, clear, confident direction. This is where leadership starts. This level requires more investment from her and more confidence from you. Examples: hand me the napkin. We're heading out. Come stand here. A woman responds to the man she respects. This is where respect forms. The moment she obeys a demand, her view of you changes. You stop being a guy she's talking to and start becoming a man she follows. But remember, demands must be calibrated. You cannot demand high investment from a woman who hasn't yet given low investment. If you jump too quickly, you create pressure she's not ready to handle. If you escalate gradually, you build desire she can't suppress. Level 3, taken compliance, leading through action. This is the highest level of investment and the foundation of physical escalation. You don't ask or command, you simply assume the answer is yes and guide her confidently. Examples: taking her hand and leading her, moving her to stand closer, pulling her in for a kiss. Most men fail here because they try to escalate physically before they've built the foundation. They behave like instant ramen while she's still slow cooking emotionally. Taken compliance works when you've built the earlier stages properly. At this level, she isn't just comfortable following you, she wants to. This is leadership. This is masculine presence. And this is where attraction solidifies into desire. Saku, mental investment, rumination. If compliance is what she does with you, rumination is what she does when you're not there. And this is where real emotional depth forms. A woman falls in love in your absence, not your presence. If she's thinking about you when you're not around, you're winning. If she's not thinking about you when you're gone, you're irrelevant. There are 3 ways to trigger rumination. 1. Assigning tasks. This is powerful, subtle, and effortless. When you give a woman a small task, something she must do outside your presence, she will think about you while doing it. Examples: bring some dessert tonight. Check out this spot we might go to. Look up that show I mentioned. These aren't chores, they're psychological anchors. While she's completing the task, you exist in her mind. This creates emotional continuity, even when you're apart. 2. Creating mystery, something she tries to figure out. Women bond through curiosity. Mystery amplifies their emotional engagement. Questions she'll obsess over. Does he like me? Why did he say that? Is he seeing someone else? What does he think of me? A mysterious man isn't secretive. He's layered. He doesn't reveal everything at once. He lets her interpret, wonder, and analyze. When a woman cannot fully read you, you occupy her mind. You become a puzzle she wants to solve, and that mental chase is often more intoxicating than physical attraction. 3. Emotional friction, mild frustration, tension, disagreement. This is the most powerful, but also the most dangerous form. When a woman is genuinely upset or irritated by you, she thinks about you non-stop. Humans mentally revisit the things that provoke emotional spikes, positive or negative, but this requires an advanced level of social calibration. Used incorrectly, you come off toxic. Used correctly, it creates an unforgettable emotional grip. If you're not experienced, don't use this deliberately. Just understand that emotion is more powerful than logic, and emotional spikes, even negative ones, create rumination. Third, temporal investment, time spent together. This is the simplest and most obvious form. The more time she spends around you, the more her brain bonds to you through proximity and exposure. But there's a catch. Time alone doesn't create desire. If there's no behavioural or mental investment happening during the time you're together, she won't fall for you. She'll only get comfortable around you. This is why men can spend months or years hanging out with a woman and still end up as nothing more than a friend. Temporal investment matters, but only when combined with the other two. Think of time like fertile soil. Good to have, but useless without seeds and water. How women actually fall in love. Now we can put it all together. A woman falls in love through consistent investment over sufficient time while the man maintains a composed, centered, masculine presence. It's that simple and that complex. It's not about tricks. It's not about lines. It's not about pretending. It's about understanding the emotional architecture of female attraction and moving in alignment with it instead of fighting it. When you guide the process correctly, she invests, she ruminates, she spends time, she gets emotionally anchored, she rises through the levels of desire, and eventually she crosses the threshold into love. Most men never make it to this point because they sabotage the process by being too needy, too fast, too available, too transparent, or too eager. They smother the spark before it has a chance to grow. Final thoughts. If you've listened all the way to this point, understand this. You now have a blueprint most men will never possess. You understand what creates female desire, what maintains it, and what destroys it. You understand why rushing kills attraction and why patience builds it. You understand why investment is everything and why women fall for the men they invest in, not the men who invest endlessly without requiring anything in return. Operate with patience, lead with confidence, stay grounded. Guide her through the stages of investment, naturally and steadily. That's how women fall in love. That's how you stop chasing and start choosing. And if you want to go deeper into all this, the psychology, the frameworks, the examples, the hidden rules nobody teaches men, I break everything down in far greater depth inside my private program, where I'm not restricted by platform limitations. But for now, if you're still here listening, just know this. I appreciate you. Let's keep building.